Dr. Bill Adams here, and this is No Spin Live, and we have a show for you today. We're going to be talking about why it's dangerous for patients to purchase cosmetic injectables online. And we have two fantastic plastic surgeons to share some expertise with you, Dr. Anu Bajaj from Oklahoma City and Dr. Jason Pozner from Boca Raton, Florida. Anu, you're going to have to referee this because, you know, I've got my Dallas Stars hat on. For the Stanley Cup, we got the Dallas Stars versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jason's from Florida, so he probably is a Tampa Bay fan. And I don't know, you may need to break us up.
Well,
it's 1-1, Jason.
Well,
and we don't know what's going to happen.
I like the Panthers, so it doesn't matter.
And I have no idea what sports you guys are talking about.
Hockey.
Got
so
it.
one of my staff dates one of the ex-players from the Panthers, so we have a lot of hockey stuff around here.
Yeah. Well, it actually has been a great series thus far. So let's hope that it continues. And yeah, I'll make you. If you're not a Lightning fan, then I'll make you a Stars fan.
I'll be a Stars fan.
Here,
yeah, I like the green hat. I like the green hat. It's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into this. You know, Jason, you sent me the story, so you should lead it off. But you know, it's about patients going online and purchasing these products that are injected, like Restylane or Juvederm or Botox. So what do you think about this?
I think they don't need us. What do you need us for? I mean, we have only had like 50 years of training and gone to seminars and watching things and know the anatomy. I mean, I think if they think they can do as good a job, then, you guys are going to have a lot of problems. No, right?
If people are going to start injecting themselves, you're going to all of a sudden see a lot of complications and bad results in your office.
Well, maybe they'll start putting breast implants too. You could buy them from South America. You can make a little cut, try to pop it in there. What do you think, Bill?
Isn't that what the whole internet age has done, though? It's like people watch the YouTube video and they know exactly what to do.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, your fillers, like, oh, that's easy. Just stick a needle in you. Just wait till you hit something,
Yeah. No, I mean, I think...
Infections. Listen, I had this. You want to see something cool? I will show you something cool.
Oh, no.
Okay. I don't know if you can see this. This is... I don't know if I'll put it in front of my face.
It's water.
It's being keyed out.
Oh, this is medical grade. This is medical grade silicone that some of the patients brought me because she injected that herself into her breast.
That's not a smart move.
Male to female transsexual, wanted some fullness. She injected that, got a whopping infection. The bad stuff happens when you try to do stuff. So I put it on my shelf with, to remind myself some of that.
Yeah.
Well, you also have to remember that all of us have unique skill sets, and as surgeons, we're uniquely trained. Like if I have an electrical problem, I call the electrician because, I can look it up to figure out how to fix it, but I'm not going to.
Right. I mean, I don't think you can get in too much trouble if you're using small doses of Botox, but remember back in the day about 10 years ago when they had that fake Botox and these people ended up in the ICU and a couple
There
of
was a huge lawsuit in Oklahoma, in the state of Oklahoma. I don't know. Do you guys remember? There was an OBGYN who said she was paralyzed from Botox.
Yeah. I mean, it's dangerous. It's a toxin. I mean, we're using purified toxin, and that's why it went through the FDA. We're using it in minute doses, and we know where the muscles are. But if someone took regular Botox and took 20 units to put it in the wrong spot, they'd probably just look screwed up for 3 months. Okay? I don't think you can get into that much trouble. But if you put filler in the wrong spot, I mean, there's lots of reports of blindness, intravascular injection. You can really mess things up with filler. You got to be super careful with that. I mean, listen, I don't think it's that hard to train our physician extenders and other people to use it. But, it does take a while, and those people went through school, a lot of schooling to learn where the anatomy was. I mean, you can't pick that up off the internet.
Yeah, I think there's several-fold kind of offshoots of this, but obviously number one is, heck, people are particular about who cuts their hair, right? I mean, even guys, girls, whoever it is.
I don't have that problem.
Let alone like doing these kind of procedures. So it always kind of kills me that, people spend more time picking out where they're going to go eat in the restaurant than picking out their plastic surgeon. But these things need to be done by experts. And if not, like you're saying, Jason, you can have really bad problems. But then also there's a whole host of, just like you can imagine online, who knows what kind of charlatan selling what? They've got something packaged as something. You have no idea what's in that bottle.
There's a lot of counterfeit.
What happens if you inject silicone, just plain, not even medical grade silicone, just what happens?
Listen, I live in the state where this is Miami. They're putting lots of stuff in women's butts, all like fix a flat, other things. You get infections out of that. I mean,
and we've all seen patients who've had sepsis from buttock injections like that, or where they have like regular industrial grade silicone and it erodes through their tissues. It's awful.
Yeah. Terrible.
And Anu, you were just commenting earlier about, just about kind of it's a misnomer because patients they kind of associate the cost as everything, right? And so they're just, hey, we can get this for cheaper online,
right?
But that leads to problems, right?
Well, so they think that the cost of the product is cheaper, but what they forget about is there's the skill set and the training that's involved with the actual administration of the product. And so when you're paying for a product, it's not just the filler. You're paying for the skill set of the person who's injecting you and the aesthetic knowledge or aesthetic eye that individual has.
Yeah, there's an old story about. Did you ever hear the story about Picasso? There's a story. I don't know if it's true or not, but Picasso was sitting by the fountain. He's doing sketches when he was alive. Woman comes up to him and says, "Would you sketch me?" He takes a sketch pad. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. He goes, "Look, that'll be $10,000 or whatever it might be."
Yeah.
And the woman says, "Well, that only took you 2 minutes to do." He said, "No, that took me 30 years to do."
And that's exactly the truth. It's all the years of experience that we've had in addition to our training, because I think the longer we've been in practice, the more we see and the better we get.
I mean, I am definitely not the same surgeon I was 20 years ago. I mean, we've learned now. I talked to Bill and I went and visited Bill watching him do some quick recovery breast dogs. We're talking about, do I cut more 1 millimeter in this direction of muscle or not? I mean, before I was just trying to figure out how to get the implant in. Now it's like every facelift, 1 millimeter of difference. It's continual learning, and I really do believe in that 10,000 hours plus thing. You don't want to go to the surgeon who is in the ivory tower lecturing about stuff who doesn't do anything. You want to go to the guy or woman who's been in the OR every day doing this stuff every single day. They get good at it.
And doing it for a while. I mean, I agree with you. I'm a completely different surgeon today than I was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And that goes with injectables too. I think I'm a much better injector than I was 10 years ago.
Very detailed. But, the different thing also is I think the surgeons of today who do cosmetic surgery don't have the wide spectrum of practice that some of the people did from 30 or 40 years ago. Like Alan Gold's in my practice, and he only does noses now. But when he was in practice, they did every reconstructive thing possible, plus cosmetic stuff. I do 4 or 5 things. That's it. And we're good at those 4 or 5 things that we do. But if you ask me to do a muscle flap to cover up a leg, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, what's hand surgery? What's a tendon? I don't know how to do that stuff anymore. I got this certificate of disqualification in hand surgery, not the edit qualification.
When was the last time you did a hand case?
I actually took off a little scar on somebody recently, but that's not what I do. It's like you get good at it. We're way more super specialized than the surgeons of past year, and I think we're probably better at what we do. I mean, Bill, how many breast cases have you done in your life? 8,000,
thousands and thousands.
Thousands and thousands. That's what makes you a good surgeon. It's like I hear people like, am I okay at the resident clinic? Well, maybe, if you're watching them at the resident clinic, but if they're not being watched, I mean, I'd rather have the guy who did 8,000 of these.
Yeah, I mean, it's not any different than the whole thing with the outliers and the talent code thing. And, it's about a certain number of repetition of the same thing in order to train to get up to an elite level.
Right.
Well, so it's kind of the same concept, because as you know, I did a fellowship in microsurgery, and so I started out doing primarily free flaps, right? Yeah. That's been my practice. And in free flaps, we know that there are fewer complications when you've done a lot more than early on in your practice. I mean, that's been clearly shown. And
I think microsurgery, I did a year of microsurgery as well. And, I really think that makes you a better surgeon, teaches you how to handle tissues better for the future. But you're definitely more detail oriented if you're sewing wet tissue paper together for a while. It probably makes you better at blephs, because I look at bleph surgery. Some of that tissue is just so crappy, sewing a bleph, and that's like putting a vein together.
It's made me really enjoy the different challenges of plastic surgery. I do a lot fewer free flaps than I did 10 years ago, but I still do a few.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, Neve, so you start off. What's the take home for people on this topic, and then Jason, you got the final word.
So the take home is, it may look cheap on the internet, but I sure as heck would not recommend it.
Real simple, just like anything else in life, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, great stuff. If you want to see more of this, you can see it on theplasticsurgerychannel.com.